Interesting to note then that purple and scarlet have been adopted as the official colours for Roman Catholicism. Here we see them celebrating Easter around the Asherah or Easter pole. It is significant that they would gravitate to this location at this time. Notice also the groves of trees around them, they too are significant. The church is always referred to as a woman in the Bible. The church is in fact called the bride of Christ, and therefore a prostitute is an apostate church that has abandoned its husband and committed adultery with others. The Catholic Church has prostituted itself with the world for centuries in order to acquire land, wealth, power and prestige. It is the richest institution in the world, and much of that wealth was gained by immoral means. The Bible tells us some more about this woman, saying, "She held a golden cup in her hand." Mass in Catholicism is always taken in a golden chalice. They allow the outside to be silver as long as the inside is plated with gold. As for being drunk with the blood of the saints, Christians have often been systematically persecuted wherever the Catholic Church has had supreme power. The Catholic Church refers to Mary as Queen of Heaven, and she was recently given the title of co-redemptrix, meaning that she is as responsible for our redemption as Jesus. Now we've heard that title Queen of Heaven before in relation to someone else. Her other title should remind us of that same woman, the Great Mother, the Virgin Mother, the Celestial Mother, the Mother of God, the Eternal Virgin. These are names given to Mary that were also given to Semiramis or Ashtoreth. In Jeremiah 7:18 we read, "No wonder I am so angry. Watch how the children gather wood and the fathers build sacrificial fires. See how the women knead dough and make cakes to offer to the Queen of Heaven, and they pour out liquid offerings to their other idol gods." God hates this reverence for the so-called Queen of Heaven, and yet the Catholic Church now states that Mary was perfect at birth and without sin. Catholics are taught to pray to Mary as she has in her hands the work of our salvation. In other words, she is idolized. She has been deified. The Catholic Mary is none other than Asherah with a Christian facade. The Catholics did not get rid of Asherah, they simply gave her a new name. They even crown statues of Mary like this. Catholic doctrine states, "The one holy, Catholic and Apostolic Church, as led by the Bishop of Rome, successor to Peter the first Pope, has always venerated the Blessed Virgin Mary, including her sinlessness, for the Church follows Scripture, especially the New Testament, which she herself compiled, as perfectly as she follows her tradition." The most obvious blasphemy about this passage is that they claim she is sinless, and therefore nothing less than a goddess. But also notice the more subtle capital letters given to the words she and herself, which also denote Mary as a goddess. Scripture has even been deliberately corrupted in Catholic texts to identify Mary as the person who was said to crush the serpent's head in Genesis 3. In their text it says, "And I will establish a feud between thee and the woman, between thy offspring and hers. She is to crush thy head, while thou dost lie in ambush at her heels." Mary has become a false goddess in the Catholic Church and an antichrist. Pope Pius IX declared that Mary was immaculately conceived, suggesting that Jesus was only divine because Mary was divine first, as the Mother of God. Here's a photo packed with symbolism to finish. The background contains a multitude of 8-pointed stars which we haven't gone into yet, but which actually represents Asherah as well. Then there's a pillar upon which an idol of Mary stands with a crown on her head and a sun symbol behind her head. Symbolism allows hidden information to be communicated in plain sight. Symbols such as these can be found in various other places around the Vatican. They are everywhere, and we'll look at them more in the next part. But to finish this part, a scene from a 90s TV series called The Mists of Avalon, which highlights perfectly how the pagan goddess became Mary.
Avalon faded from the world of men, and only Glastonbury marked where its wonders had been. The Saxons overran Britain and made it their own, and the goddess was forgotten. Or so I was convinced for many years.
Virgin Mary, Mother of God, pray for me.
Until at last I realized the goddess had survived. She had not been destroyed, but had simply adopted another incarnation. And perhaps one day, future generations will be able to bring her back as we knew her, in the glory of Avalon.